A very good morning to all my dear students. And through your messages, I have received the excitement that you all are so happy to start a new chapter and a last chapter of your CA Foundation Law syllabus, that is Companies Act. Good morning, Mr. Himanshu, Ziba, Sudhanshu, Sahil, Vagdevi. Even I am happy to have you back, Vagdevi. Mr. Ronit, Shruti, Lakshita, good morning, Sidra, Chanchal, Arshdeep, Ekta, Rahul, Tanishka Kumari, Gunshita, Harshita, Dhwani, Bhumika, Mohammed Sahil Ali Khan. Good morning, Anjana. Good morning, Gunjan Devi, Manvi, P. Vishnu. Even I'm happy, P. Vishnu, to have all of you back in the class today. Mr. Keshav Kothari, good morning, Ishan. Definitely, Mr. Kunal Jain, you can ask your queries as much as possible over here because this is the only platform that is allowed to us to meet you and solve your queries as well. All right. And a very good morning, children. Good morning, Rahul, Mohammed, Tapti, Mr. BD, Shri, Manvi, Mansi, Atri, all of you. So I'm glad that you all are excited to start the new chapter today, that is Companies Act. I hope you have revised Partnership Act very nicely. You are almost done. And MCQs also. I have uploaded, children, your sale of goods. All PPTs were already uploaded. I have uploaded your partnership also. There is a small test, 3 tests I've given from all the units of sale of goods. Similarly, I'll be uploading the tests for companies and partnership also. Just try to test your knowledge. Although the answers have been given so that you don't have to look here and there for the answers, but first try to solve them, and if it's required, then you can repeat the answers. All right, children. So, how many of you have heard about the word company before? Whether it's in accounts, whether it's part of your 11-12 business studies syllabus, you must have heard the word company. And I'm sure after partnership, you have a good knowledge about LLP as well. So you have gained quite a knowledge about your limited liability partnership also. So today again, we are going to start up another form of organization, which is a little higher than the LLP. Although the structuring, although the corporation registration, quite a things will be same because LLP is also kind of a registered partnership where you have taken the authorization and it is must to get your LLP registered. We were enjoying the benefit of the liability being limited over there. On the same scales, now we are going to expand our business to a much greater extent. We will be setting up a company from today. So how the chapters are going to be? Yes, Mr. Pranay Gupta, a very good morning to you as well. Definitely, Mr. Samir saying you can do that as well. Lakshita, Bansiri, Panchal, Hatindra Kumar, good morning. Lakshita, Bibuhu, very good. Okay, so many of you have written, yes, ma'am, we have heard about company before, so that's great. So today you'll be learning how actually the company functions, what are the basic features, characteristics which are associated with a company. All right. So Companies Act 2013. So do you remember, children? It was earlier named as Companies Act 1956. And many amendments, the major amendments that occurred, that was in the year 2013, that whole of the act was changed. Almost entire act was consolidated and amended in 2013 year. And now whenever you purchase any other new book or any study material references, wherever you're studying Companies Act, you must always make sure that you study Companies Act 2013. 1956 वाला एक्ट पुराना था, अब जो हम कंपनीज के लिए फॉलो करते हैं, that is Companies Act 2013. Many a times I meet students who have started their CA journey long back and then they have left and now they are back on track. So for those kind of students, I have to generally tell them that, look, when you were doing BCom, it was the Companies Act 1956. So now please follow your new books, latest amendments. 2013 में पूरा का पूरा act almost change over. So you have to follow the latest act. Now, why this act was changed? Because of the national and international economic environments. For the expansion of business, economy is growing. So many things are happening. We are having import-export relationship with foreign companies. Indian companies are incorporating their offices abroad. Many organizations abroad are setting up their businesses in our economy. So in order to have, kind of expansion and growth, many changes were required to be made. So central government decided to replace the entire act only with a new legislation. So the kind of act we are having now, what kind of act we have now, it has the definition of Companies Act 2013. We'll be doing what is a company under this act. We will define in a short span of time. After that, this act has 470 sections. Ma'am, do we need to learn all the sections? The question comes up. The answer is no. You don't need to learn all these sections. In CA Foundation, sections are not mandatory. My students know that. But as and when required, whenever you are giving reference of a section, it should be a correct section. If you don't remember, don't write it. Now, 470 sections, children, Companies Act का बहुत छोटा सा part आप CA Foundation में पढ़ते हैं. Entire lot of huge Companies Act will be covered in CA intern. How the company is actually functioning, what are the memorandum, how the articles set up the rules and regulations, how the directors of the company are appointed, how the meetings are actually happening and taking place. Entire CA inter you'll be covering huge part of Companies Act. छोटा सा हिस्सा जो companies का है वो हम CA Foundation में पढ़ते हैं. We have 3 lectures scheduled for this class. First, I will be doing today a basic introduction, just making you have enhancement, knowledge enhancement about what actually a company is. So don't be scared, those who are writing, ma'am, हमने नहीं पहले पढ़ा हुआ, तो मुझे पता है, मैं आपको जिन्होंने पढ़ा भी है 11th 12th में companies के बारे में, we will still think that you all are raw, you all are fresh students, you know nothing about company. So today we'll be telling you everything, each and everything about a company. So पहले थोड़ा सा एक्ट को समझ लेते हैं. बेसिकली एक्ट में सिर्फ ये डिटेल्स दी हुई हैं. You don't have to learn all these things, but at least being a CA student, you should have a good knowledge about what is the act defines. It gives you 470 sections. I told you all sections we will not be covering here. We cover it as part of CA Inter and CA Final. 7 schedules. Again, these schedules you'll be studying in your senior classes. 29 chapters. So every act is divided into sections, chapters, schedules. So he's just giving you a mere information ki act mein hai kya. You all know, children, how the act is formed. You set up certain rules regarding, say, for example, if I had to make an act for companies, so firstly, I'll set up certain rules and regulations for a company. And then a bill will be made. Once this bill is approved by both the houses of parliament, it becomes an act. Recently, our Goods and Service Tax, GST Act was formed. So this is how the parliament approves all the bills related to a particular kind of organization or companies kind of thing. And once it is approved, it becomes an authorized act. Then whatever organization you're setting up, you have to follow the act related to that. If you're setting up a partnership, you have to follow Indian Partnership Act. If you're setting up LLP, you have to follow LLP Act. If you're setting up a company, you have to follow Companies Act. So it defines all the rules and regulations which are applicable for the setting up of company, how the company is to be run. Everything is defined in 470 sections, 7 schedules, 29 chapters. And a substantial part is given in the company rules. Remember, we were talking about the number of partners also, where we made a reference of companies rules, Companies Amendment Act. So company has a huge part of rules where it is given how it defines certain kind of transactions to be done in case of a company. So this is a broad category of definition of Companies Act, how the act was introduced, how it was formed. The session layout is one of the interesting things that I want to share with you. Today, we'll be talking about the features. Company के features क्या-क्या है? Features को आप characteristics भी बोल सकते हैं. Basically, what all ingredients are available when you set up a company. After that, corporate veil theory, very important. And I find this is one of the examiner's favorite topic. 2 marks का या 4 marks का corporate veil theory से related कहीं ना कहीं से question आ ही जाता है. Or from the classes of companies. Classes of companies, children, means types of companies. There are different types of companies: public, private company, holding company, subsidiary company. If I am investing more than 50% of shares in your company, then your company will become my subsidiary. So how holding and subsidiary kind of relationship is established, what needs to be seen, whether it is the control of board of directors or the association having the control of management, each and everything will be taught to you in types of companies. Again, a very important topic. अब आपको हैरानी की बात ये लगेगी, कंपनीज एक्ट है तो छोटा सा, but इसमें से भी 15 to 16 marks, even more at times, syllabus will be covered in your exam. So you cannot leave even a single line of Companies Act. Each and every topic is very, very important. If you'll see types of companies, many types of companies are given. So we have to do each type of company, holding, subsidiary, public, private, OPC. Another very important, one of my favorite topic in this chapter is one person company. एक बंदा खुद अकेला भी कंपनी खोल सकता है. Partnership में तो you still need to have at least one more with you, ना? 2 partners are mandatory. Private and public company maybe 2 and minimum 7 is the requirement. But now government has come up with a very interesting concept of one person company also. So how does it actually happen? Say for example, you have set up a grocery store for yourself and you're running the business and you're very happy and satisfied. Remember when we started partnership, I told you are running a grocery store and you have kept an employee. I'm forgetting the name. Let's keep Mr. Ram. Mr. Ram as an employee in your organization to help you. So you all answered me, ma'am, he's not a partner, he's an employee, because to an employee, we always pay a salary. In order to become my partner, he will have to sign an agreement with me. So I'm just trying to tell you the different forms of organizations. Banti kaise, company tak pahunchte kaise. So this, when I'm setting up a grocery store, I'm a sole proprietor. एक individual owner जिसका अपना business है. I have my own assets, liabilities, my huge liabilities that I have to bear on my own. Mr. Ram is not going to bear any liabilities because he's my employee. This is how we learned about sole proprietor. A person who is doing an individual business might have kept the staff underneath him also. And when I decided that I want someone to share my responsibilities, I signed an agreement and we both became partners. Now me and Mr. Ram are partners, and Partnership Act will be applicable to our firm. All the provisions and given under the Partnership Act 1922 will have to be applied, because now I'm not doing an individual business, I am into partnership. Then we were overburdened with the liability effect. So much huge liability. हमेशा राम और मेरी लड़ाई हो रही है. राम कह रहे हैं आप liability bear करो, मैं कह रही हूँ आप करो. But it has to be borne by both the partners equally. Let's say we have the profit sharing ratio in which we are doing equally. So now we thought to convert our Unlimited Partnership Act into Limited Liability Partnership. So हमने LLP form कर ली. Now we were comfortable. So now business is also expanded and liability is also limited. But the hunger and need for expansion of business was still there. So I called up Ram. I told, let's expand the business more. Why not we set up a company kind of organization? और बड़ा business करते हैं, public की investment कराते हैं, private limited भी नहीं खोलेंगे. Let's ask public to invest shares in a company and let's do it on a large scale. So this is the hierarchy, how from a sole proprietor, we learned about partnership, then about LLP, and now we are going to expand our business to a great extent, and we'll be setting up a company. अब आ जाते हैं 1% company. Say that Ram has never been my partner. I was only running that grocery store. And now I myself also want to turn up into my expansion of business and want to open in a company. Then also I can do it, because OPC is a new concept where a single person also set up and have a good corporate office, a corporate feel, and can have papers registered in the name of a company. All right, children. So this is what all we have to do. Partnership PPTs are all uploaded, Mr. MD. Don't scare me by saying that, ma'am, please upload. All the 3 Partnership Act PPTs are uploaded. Even 3 new tests of MCQs of sale of goods have been uploaded. Good, Sameer, that's nice. Yes, Avinash, he's saying in BBO also we did 1956. So now please follow 2013. For your CS syllabus, you have to follow the latest act. Yes, Lakshita, there you have to do that. Mr. P. Vishnu, LLP is a different concept, companies are different, but still, if you'll try to understand the silent features that we'll be doing, yes, you can apply the same to LLP as well. One, Sudhanshu Shekhar, I hope now this point is clear that one person company is not a sole proprietor. Sole proprietorship, जो मैंने अभी example दिया था, Mr. Ram employee है and मैं business कर रही हूँ, that is sole proprietorship business. I want to set up a company, I will convert my sole proprietorship into one person company. Good, Keshav Kothari, that is very fine. It's governed by the same act. OPC is governed by Companies Act 2013. Samriti Maheshwari, you can do it from the PDF download and try to do it yourself. Yes, Ms. Radha, definitely you have to learn all the concepts of companies entity. Samajh aa gaya, children? Today we'll be doing features, corporate veil theory, and the next class we'll do classes of companies and shares and share capital, and the last class we'll be having doubt session, problems, examination question papers, and your favorite topics of MOAs and AO. What is MOA? MOA is Memorandum of Association. Thank you so much, Miss Ruchi Pandya. I'm glad that you're enjoying the class. Memorandum of Association and Articles of Association, children. These are two very, very important documents whenever a company is formed. So say, for example, I have formed a company and now I am into shoe business. So I'm doing a large scale business of manufacturers of shoes, and you want to do any kind of trading with me. So whenever any party wants to do a trading with me or say wants to invest in my company, you will always try to read the MOA of a company. MOA means Memorandum of Association. This memorandum tells the object clause of the company. It will tell you why the company is formed, what is the kind of business that this company does, what is the nature of the business, how it is formed and how it is run, what kind of profitable nature, whatever things are related to a company, its name, object, association, everything is given in the Memorandum of Associations. Aarti, we will be doing classes of companies in detail in the next class. Today, I'm just giving you an introduction. Okay. All right, Ustad saying Arshdeep, that's right. Atharva, Dhumal, we'll be doing all the recent amendments which are applicable for your November exam. Those will be covered in the class itself. Okay. So now you have understood, you have a fair idea about memorandum. So memorandum एक company की जो objectives हैं उसके बारे में बताता है. So whenever you want to invest in any company, you are required to read the memorandum of a company so that you know what kind of business the company is into. And what is Articles of Association? Articles of Association tells the rules and regulations of the company. It is a kind of an internal document which the company, when ABC Limited is formed, so ABC Limited will make their MOA, जिसमें वो object लिखेंगे अपने company का, and they will form the document of Articles of Association, in which they will write how the members will come, go, how the business is going to be done, how the directors needs to be appointed, who will be the first directors. All the information related to the running of the company is given in your Articles of Association. So Articles of Association is a kind of internal document of the company. समझ आ गया किस तरह से topics will be covered. Now let's proceed with the first basic topic of today's session, that is what is a company? So children, if you'll ask me, ma'am, how many definitions we have to learn? There are 3-4 definitions which are given in your study material. You can learn any one of the definition. Examiner can give you what is a company. Now give me the silent features of the company. So you have to write one of the definitions. But yes, we will be covering each and all the definitions so that you understand what is the meaning given by the different authors. All right. So let us first start with the first topic of today's session, that is what is a company? According to Chief Justice Marshall, a corporation is an artificial being, invisible, intangible, existing only in the contemplation of law. Now, this is something very, very interesting. It says first definition that we are going to cover is given by Chief Justice Marshall. I hope I am audible, students. According to Chief Justice Marshall, a corporation is an artificial and invisible being. Means it is not something which can be seen in the real sense, but yes, company is a person. Now, what is the meaning of intangible? Something which cannot be seen or touched. So Chief Justice Marshall just gave a basic definition of a company by saying that it is a corporation. It is a kind of an organization which is actually invisible, but yes, it is existing in the contemplation of law, means in the eyes of law. In the contemplation of law means it is existing in the eyes of law. Yashika, conversion of public into private company is part of your CA Inter syllabus. You don't have to do it in foundation. Yes, Jia Patel, that is correct. Good morning, Bala Sajal Lakshmi. Radha, Miss Radha Kela, when we go in the detailed discussion of OPC, we have huge discussions to be done on OPC, that is 1% company. There you will understand it in detail. Okay. So it is an organization which is actually existing in the eyes of law. Dikhti nahi hai, intangible hai, invisible. But yes, it is a person. Now, in the further other words of Professor Hane, it says a company is an incorporated association. Number one, incorporated means it is registered. Incorporation करानी पड़ती है. आप ये नहीं कह सकते कि आपने और मैंने एक दुकान खोल ली और ये कंपनी. No, you have to go to the registrar of companies. You have to get the incorporation of company is must. Okay, Mr. Keshav Thakur, that's great. So Abhinav is saying, मैम हिंदी में भी समझाइए. तो हिंदी में बेटा हम बीच में बोलते रहेंगे. जब कोई important topic ऐसा आएगा जो which is very difficult, I'll convert it into Hindi as well. So now children, there is a question for all of you. When I say that a company has to get itself registered, so I taught my students something related to registration of partnership also. So you all have to tell me, is registration in case of partnership firm compulsory, yes or no? Is it compulsory to have the registration done in partnership, yes or no? So I told you in a company, it is very important to get it incorporated, but we also understood about partnership firm also, incorporation of partnership also. So is it important? So in partnership, excellent. So all of you remember rightly. Thank you so much, Miss Shruti Tiwari. I'm so happy she's writing, ma'am, you made me actually fall in love with the subject and you inspire me. I'm so happy to read this, Shruti, and I'm glad that I've been able to give you a motivation. And what Shruti has written is something which I keep telling all my students. Definitely you have to fall in love with the subject. Then only you enjoy studying it. So it's very good. Yes, Manvi Khanna, that's correct. Okay, Tanish Mittal is the first one to give the correct answer. No, ma'am, registration of partnership is not compulsory. Why Rahul is writing, yes, I don't know. That is wrong, Rahul. Partnership ki registration compulsory nahi hai. Divyanshu, Ronit, Yashika, Nishant, Aarti, Jia, Manvi, Tejashri, Ashvi, all of you are correct. Sehajpreet Kaur, Monu, Shivani, Sudhanshu, Sakshi, Ekta, everybody has given the correct answer. Avinash, consider Doctrine of Management is your part of your syllabus, which will be covered in the third session of companies. Gunjan Devi, Nikhil, Bhumika, Paladi Charan. Paladi Charan, you are saying it's mandatory. No, it's wrong. It's optional. Arisha, Radha, Keshav, Vaishnavi, all of you are correct. Varda, Aditya, Darshan, Mohammed, Hussain, Anaya, Jha, Sakshi, all of you children, there are around 600-700 names, difficult to take. So all of you have clearly given, yes, Khushdeep Kaur, nice that if you want to enjoy the 4 benefits, then you must get your firm registered. Otherwise, it's not compulsory. Okay, no, Mr. Rahul, registration of partnership firm, bacha, it's not compulsory. But yes, in order to avail the benefits, remember those 4 benefits that partners can sue each other, or you want to have the setup of claims allowed, you can take action against the third parties. For then, you must get yourself registered. Compulsory nahi hai, optional hai, but it is advisable to get yourself registered. Okay, but in companies, there is no choice. Yes, Ruchi, that's absolutely correct. The same thing, because in order to avoid the disputes, it is better. Avinash Kansar, definitely LLP is compulsory to get registered. Tabhi to wo LLP hai na, that LLP gets that company kind of creation is made. Na? So that's why LLP we always do before doing Companies Act, so that you have a knowledge that there is a certain partnership also, which if you want a limited liability, you must get yourself incorporated and registered like a company. So number 1 point, companies and incorporated association means register karayenge hum usse. Number 2, it is an artificial person. आर्टिफिशियल पर्सन मीन्स एक लिविंग ह्यूमन बीइंग नहीं है. हम लोग क्या है, हम नॉर्मल एक लिविंग जीते जागते इंसान है, पर्सन है. आर्टिफिशियल मीन्स एक आर्टिफिशियल, मतलब जैसे एक टॉय होता है, टॉय इज एन आर्टिफिशियल काइंड ऑफ थिंग. दिस इज एन आर्टिफिशियल समथिंग विच इज नॉन लिविंग, कैन नॉट बी सीन, इट कैन स्टिल बी सीन, दिस बॉटल कैन बी सीन. तो कंपनी भी वो कहते हैं कि एक तरह से ऐसे कुछ आर्टिफिशियल चीज बन जाएगी जिसको हम देख नहीं सकते, जिसको हम टच नहीं कर सकते. बट यस, इट इज लीगल एंटिटी. Partnership में firm and partners were one and the same thing. A, B, C are partners. Collectively, they are known as firm. But Professor Henne is trying to tell you, company is an artificial person created by law. A, B, C are the shareholders. They are different. This company is different. They have formed something which is a different legal identity. दिखती नहीं है. It is visible in the paper. It is visible on the paper when you write its name. Company can has its own property. Company can file a case also against others. It's not visible. It's not a person whom can be seen. It's an artificial person जो दिखाई नहीं देता. Number 3 point, having a separate entity. I just told you company is different, shareholders are different. इसकी अपनी एक identity. With a perpetual succession, very, very interesting point. What is the meaning of perpetual? I told you earlier also, perpetual means continues. Perpetual means continues. Succession means चलते जाना, बंद नहीं होती है, continuity में रहती है, unless and until you get its name striked off. Unless and until you wind up the company, it continues to exist. And a common seal. अब ये common seal भी compulsory नहीं है. I will take you to this amendment also. But this is what the definition says, that it's an incorporated organization, artificial person, separate legal entity, perpetual succession, and yes, it has a common seal. Common seal means common signature होता है. Company अपने नाम पे ठप्पा लगाकर sign कर सकती है. Everyone individual doesn't have to sign. They make a stamp, they make a seal in the name of company, and when you put up that seal, these are the digital signatures used for the name of company. Nowadays, we use digital signatures, so common seal is also replaced. So, and another definition is, Act defines the term bit different. तो कहते हैं ऐसा नहीं कि Act ने definition नहीं दी, Companies Act ने भी अपनी definition दी है. So, अभी तक हमने general definition कर ली according to Chief Justice Marshall, that it is a corporation in the eyes of law, something which is existing. Professor Henry has given you all the characteristics, all the 5 features that I'm going to do today with you. He has combined that in the definition of company. And section 2 subsection 20 is also giving the definition of company. So section 2 subsection 20 पता होना चाहिए ये भी कि section में क्या definition है. It says company means a company incorporated under this act or under any previous company law. So if any company which is registered under 1956 Act also, na, that is also known as a company under Companies Act 2013. So section 2 subsection 20 says any company which is formed today or tomorrow or which was formed yesterday, this act is applicable to each and every company, whether the company is getting formed today, even if the company was formed in 1983, then also all these points are applicable to the company. Clear ho gaya? Now let us understand further. So you have understood the definition of companies. Applicability of Companies Act. Very interesting. Okay, the Companies Act 2013, मैंने अभी section 2 subsection 20 में define करा. Even if your company is formed in 1958, even if the company which was formed in 1987, all the companies, or your companies formed today, 2020-22, or the company formed in year 2013, all the companies this act, Companies Act 2013 is applicable. मतलब जो भी definition, जो भी features इस act में बताए गए हैं are applicable to each and every company formed today, tomorrow, or even yesterday. Even if it is formed under any other company law, then also this act is applicable. Now it talks about actually the applicability of the act. So we, number one point, we just understood that any company which is incorporated under this act or under any other previous act. So means अगर कोई Companies Act 1956 में भी बनी थी ना कंपनी, जिसको वो वाला एक्ट एप्लीकेबल था, उसके लिए भी अब 2013 एक्ट एप्लीकेबल हो जाएगा. So even if your company was formed under previous company law under 1956, to them also this law act is applicable, or any company which is being formed today or tomorrow, this act is applicable to each and every company. Number two, insurance companies. Of insurance companies, what is the business of insurance company? Say, for example, you set up a business tomorrow and you want to obtain fire insurance. So you will go to the insurance people and you will tell them that we want to subscribe or apply for fire insurance. Now that fire insurance is an insurance company. Law says आपने अपनी company बनाई 2013 Act applicable करके, you have formed a company, Harleen Kaur Private Limited. But I am getting my assets insured with an insurance company. So that insurance company is different. Now law is trying to tell you to this insurance company also Companies Act 2013 is applicable. Why? Because insurance company is also a company. So banking companies, electricity companies, to all these companies also Companies Act 2013 is applicable. But there is a twist. ये जो except word लिखा होता है ना, this is the major hint given in your law. Except means exceptions. Except where the provisions of this said act are inconsistent with the provisions of Insurance Act or Insurance Regulatory Development Act under 1999 IRDA Act. अब वो कहते हैं जो इंश्योरेंस कंपनी के पास में अपनी इंश्योरेंस लेने गई हूं, वो इंश्योरेंस कंपनी एक्चुअली इज गवर्न्ड बाय द इंश्योरेंस एक्ट और द IRDA एक्ट. तो कहते हैं इंश्योरेंस कैसे प्रोवाइड करनी है, प्रीमियम कैसे लेना है, ये सब तो उसका इंश्योरेंस एक्ट बताएगा. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस, हाउ द कंपनी इज सेट अप, व्हाट आर द फीचर्स एप्लीकेबल टू अ कंपनी, everything Companies Act 2013 is going to define. So when it used the word inconsistent means where my insurance company regulations are to be applied, there I will be applying my Insurance Act only. Where my electricity provisions needs to be applied, I will be applying Electricity Act only. Where my banking provisions, say for example, I have opened, when a bank is being run, how the savings needs to be taken, how the deposits have to be planned, how the investments are to be done, everything will be told by Banking Regulation Act 1949. But law says Companies Act first, because it is a company, no, banking company. So whenever you're setting up electricity company, banking company, insurance companies, in सबको Companies Act 2013 is applicable, but the provisions related to the specific task that they're doing. For insurance, Insurance Act is applicable. For banking, Banking Regulation Act is applicable. For electricity department, Electricity Act 2003 is applicable. So wherever the provisions are inconsistent means wherever you feel that which act has to be applied. So their basic act is this, which is written in the bracket. So this is the basic act which will tell the banking company how the deposit savings needs to be maintained, how the banking regulation needs to be done. But for setting up a company, how the structure is to be formed, what is the meaning of separate legal entity, that is Companies Act which is defined. समझ आ गया? Any other company governed by any special act for the time being in force. ज्यादा दूर क्यों जाना है, अपने ICAI की बात कर लेते हैं. Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, it is governed by ICAI Act. तो कहते कोई और भी जो कंपनी है जो कि स्पेशल एक्ट्स के साथ गवर्न होती है, ICSI is governed by ICSI. ICWA का अपना अलग एक्ट है, ICAI का ICAI Act. So we are also governed by Chartered Accountants Act provisions given. Okay, so it says there all the provisions given under ICAI will be applicable to that organization, institute which you have set up. But yes, Companies Act will still have an applicability of your separate legal entity concept. So applicability of Companies Act 2013 is applicable to all the companies formed even under different acts. So wherever the provisions of the act are inconsistent, there you will be following your respective act. Otherwise, Companies Act is applicable to insurance companies, banking, electricity, any other statutory bodies formed, and all the companies which are incorporated under this respective act. Clear ho gaya? Now let us understand the silent features. Let me see how many of you are there with us. Okay, yes, Keshav Thakur, that's correct. Exactly, Lakshita. That's why it never comes to an end. Sarthak, corporation is another name used for a company. So corporation means जो company हम form करते हैं. So interchangeably we can use this word. Yes, Ustad Singh, can be done. Members become, yes, Rajesh, absolutely correct. Okay. Keshav Thakur, again, any of the definition you can remember, but you should have a basic knowledge of all this thing. What is the meaning, mere creation? So this, Miss Ruchi, this point will be explained to you when we discuss the each and every line from study material. It is a particular case law. I will be teaching you this particular line. So Vinash, Kansar, whenever there is a conflict between the provisions of two acts, then the act which is applicable, say for example, if banking companies is saying something else and Companies Act is saying something else, their Banking Companies Act would be applicable. Because the banking company is regulated by banking regulation. So otherwise, my provisions are applicable in case of any conflict, then the respective act becomes applicable. Yes, Chaitanya, that is also fine. Good, Ziba. I'm glad you're understanding each and everything carefully. That's nice. Thank you, Miss Anjana, for saying crystal clear. RBI will also be, yes, Mohammed, that will also be happening. Miss Mitra, that particular act is applicable only to the insurance companies, IRDA. Partner by holding out. Miss Sanjana, any queries related to other acts, you can ask at the end, not in between. Otherwise, our chapter will be left. Retrospective effect means from the older effect. Say, for example, I started my firm on 1st June 2020-21 and it is today 12 September 2022. So regarding minor and the new partner we were discussing. So retrospective effect means from the date when I started the business, Purani date se. Okay. Yes, definitely, Arshdeep. All right. Saima Khatun, it means wherever there is a conflict between two provisions, then their respective act will become applicable. Inconsistent means if both of us are saying something else, then whatever is the respective act which governs the organization, it will become applicable. All the silent features are also given in the book. It's nothing that it's not given in the book. We will read all these points from the study material also once. So let us understand Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority. All those who are asking, ma'am, what is the full form of IRDA? You don't have to learn the entire Insurance Regulatory Act also. It's Insurance Regulatory Development Authority Act. This act basically tells you about all the provisions related to the insurance company, how the insurance companies is to be formed, how they are to be run. Okay, Sidra, Fatima, I hope it's clear now. All right. Yes, Ms. Bhargavi, that's absolutely correct. Chalo, aage chalte hain. So body corporate. Now, first feature which is given over here is you must have done under NLP also that when a company is formed, it gets a structure of a corporate kind of structure. So its body is like a corporate. So you can see huge buildings of Tata, Reliance, pictures shown you over here. वो कहते हैं देखने को तो ये अंदर लाइटें बल्ब लगे हैं, फर्नीचर पड़ा है, तो ये हमारी कंपनी. So it's not a human being, it's just visible as a body structure, is like a corporate offices. So once we are registered, once we are incorporated, we get our own separate legal identity. We form a structure which is of a corporate structure. Point number 2 is perpetual succession. Many of you have already answered this point very nicely also, but let's do with another very interesting example over here. So A, B, C are the shareholders who are running a company, and there were also 3 directors in the company, D, E, and F. Now these 3 directors and shareholders were having a good time, having a picnic somewhere across the river. And suddenly there was tides and storms, and all of them just got drawn away and they died then and there. Bechare shareholders and directors, they were enjoying and having fun, but unfortunately, ABC 3 shareholders of the company, ABC Limited, and the directors DEF Limited, there was a mishap and they all died in this. Now, I just now told you that they are different people, ABC shareholders and DEF directors. They are different from my ABC Limited company, because company is different, shareholders are different. But Bacha, I want to ask you one thing. Now they all have died, but we all know that the company was being run by them only. So now if they all have died, so this is ABC Limited building. Let's assume that this is the building. So this ABC Limited will come to an end, yes or no? Since all the shareholders and directors have died, will the company come to an end? Thank you, Anjana and Arshdeep. Thank you so much, children. Okay, Sahil. Tell me, children, will the company come to an end? Mr. Sheikh, this is what we are doing right now, body, corporate, and perpetual. Why don't you give reasons, children? All of you have written no, ma'am, no, ma'am, no, ma'am. So Miss Samriti Maheshwari, excellent. No, ma'am, it will not, because perpetual succession, it makes no change in the company's constitution. It will still continue to run. Very nice. Vivek Kumar says, yes, the company will end. No, that's wrong. Saima also says, yes, it will come to an end. No, it's wrong. This is what I'm trying to teach you. So Chanchal, Devagan, Parth, Aditya, Sidra, Devanshu, Sudhanshu, Mohammed, Samriti, Gareja, Tejashri, Avadesh, Pooja, Khushbu, Tanish, Mittal, Gunjan Devi, Arshdeep, Khushdeep, Ashifa, Ashvi, they are correct. Sakshi, Artri, Yashika, Keshav, Sehjpreet, Miki Kumari, Avinash, Sakshi, Ruchi, Arisha, MD. All of you are correct, children. Definitely, it will not come to an end, because the legal representatives, okay, yes, Ms. Yashika, legal representatives can also run. So company's existence, but what Ms. Bhumika has written, that is a better answer. Company's existence is not affected by the change in members. It is separate from its members. Very good. So children, this example was just to explain you. Yes, Shruti Tiwari, good. Correct. Yes, Ms. Saima Khatun, I'm glad now you have understood. Good. Vaishnavi, you're also correct. Zeeba, Khushdeep, Jia Patel, Shruti Tiwari, all of you are correct. So children, these kind of examples, can actually come as a case study in your exam also. He can give you such kind of stories that ABC were the shareholders, they were on a trip somewhere and it's a private limited company that they have formed. So उसमें ऐसी condition आ जाएगी, number of members कितने होने चाहिए थे, एक question ये आ जाएगा, second आ जाएगा, say all the members have died, what will happen to the company now? So general एक perspective जो आता है ना, जिसने पहले नहीं ये perpetual succession word सुना, उसको यही लगता है कि yes, now the company will come to an end, because the shareholders and directors who were running the company वो ही नहीं रहे, तो company कैसे चलेगी? तो कंपनी चलेगी तो नहीं ऑब्वियसली, बट वो बंद भी नहीं होगी. ठीक है? Why? Because you have to get the name of the company strike off from the registrar of companies, or you have to do the winding up. You apply to the tribunal, company law tribunal के पास हम जाएंगे और हम उन्हें बताएंगे कि इनके शेयर होल्डर्स नहीं रहे, इसलिए इस कंपनी को बंद कर दिया जाए, या फिर जैसे आपने बोला लीगल रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स चलाना चाहे वो भी चला सकते. कंपनी एक बार जब इनकॉर्पोरेट हो गई, वो लीगली ही बंद होती है, किसी के आने या जाने से या रहने या मरने से वो बंद नहीं हो. This is the meaning of perpetual succession. Got it? You write this kind of examples in your notebook so that you don't have to, wonder next time when you open this chapter. Now, separate legal entity is very, very interesting. Can you see how they have shown a hut? It's a company, different. एक house बन गया, ये company अलग है, और ये हमारे ABC shareholders अलग है. Separate legal entity का जो case law है, Mcqs versus Northern Insurance Company Limited, it tells you that the shareholders cannot even have the insurable interest in the company. So what is the meaning of having insurable interest? We were just talking few minutes back about an insurance company. Say, for example, Harleen Kaur has set up a company, Harleen Kaur Private Limited. And now I have all the assets in my business which I want to get insured. So again, a question for all of you. So I have set up a company, ABC Limited. Harleen Kaur रहने दो, आप ABC Limited ही कर लेते हैं. And ये shareholders हैं A, B and C. And ये इतनी सारी property है यहाँ पे, assets हैं हमारे. तो हम insurance क्यों लेते हैं बेटा? कल को अगर हमें कोई प्रॉब्लम आ जाए, हमारे फायर लग जाए या फिर स्टॉक चोरी हो जाए या प्रॉब्लम आ जाए, so we can recover the money from the insurance company. You all have a basic idea. Your parents must have taken life insurance or any other kind of fire insurance, house insurance. So whenever any damage happens, we can simply need to pay premium to the insurance companies. And at the time of need, if a fire occurs, we can go and take the claim from the insurance company. ऐसे ही होता है, यही फंक्शन होता है इंश्योरेंस कंपनी का, सबको पता है, ये नॉलेज है. तो अब जो मैंने कंपनी बनाई ABC Limited and they were partners Mr. A, B and C, they thought that let gets the assets of this company insured. Insured means insurance ले लेंगे. हम Northern Insurance Company Limited के पास गए और हमने कहा प्लीज हमारी ये कंपनी के प्रॉपर्टी इंश्योरेंस क्लेम करनी है हम. And Mr. A went and said that please give me the insurance in the name of Mr. A. Is it correct in doing so? Don't you think that the insurance needs to be taken in the name of ABC Limited? So please tell me, if I have to insure company's assets, can I take the insurance in the name of shareholder or I need to take the insurance in the name of company? You have to tell me. Miss Manvi is writing, how will the company run if the people have died? So yes, it will exist only on paper. Legal entity still continues to exist. Okay. How the running, how the management has to be done, that is a different story. We'll have to see whether we have to continue or we have to wind up. So winding up is the word that we have to use in order to bring the end to the company. अभिनव कुमार जी, हम हिंदी में ही बोल रहे हैं, पूरा लेक्चर हिंदी में नहीं करा जा सकता. वी आर नॉट अलाउड. अगर आपको कोई पॉइंट नहीं समझ आता तो प्लीज आप हिंदी में पूछ लीजिए. अभी तक जो हमने पॉइंट्स कवर करे हैं, साइलेंट पेजेस का मतलब होता है बॉडी कॉर्पोरेट की जो कंपनी है उसकी एक बॉडी जो है कॉर्पोरेट काइंड ऑफ स्ट्रक्चर होती है, एक ऑफिस होता है उसका, लीगल एंटिटी होती है और वो अपने मेंबर्स से सेपरेट है, मींस अलग है. कंपनी अलग है, मेंबर्स अलग है. एंड सेकेंड पॉइंट था परपेचुअल सक्सेशन का, जो कहता है कि कंपनी एग्जिस्ट करती रहती है, कंपनी कभी मरती नहीं है. अगर उसके शेयर होल्डर्स मर भी गए हैं तब भी कंपनी पेपर्स में एग्जिस्ट करती है. सैटिस्फाइड? ओके. Yes, Kirti, that's correct. I'm waiting for the answer, the question that I've given to you, all of you. Thank you, Pranka, for saying crystal clear. No shareholder has the right to any profit. Very good, Simriti. Shareholders are not personally liable because, yes, Mohammed, that's also correct. In the name of company, so Manvi, MD, Sakshi, Yashika, Monu, Tanish Mittal, all of you are correct. It has to be taken in the name of company. वाह यार, आप लोगों को तो केस लॉ मैंने अभी पढ़ाया ही नहीं और आपने मुझे क्रक्स पहले ही सुना दिया. ग्रेट, सच एन इंटेलिजेंट क्लास आई हैव. अविनाश, अर्शदीप, खुशी, रेखा, सहजप्रीत, शिवानी, श्रुति अग्रवाल, आर्तरी मोंदल, जिया, श्रुति अग्रवाल, खुशबू, all of you are correct. Insurance has to be taken in the name of company, ma'am. It is not a personal insurance. We cannot take the insurance in our own names. Very good. Sarthak said, nice. Gunjan Devi, Gareja, Sidra, Ekta, Anushri. I really need to make someone sit with me so that they can take so many names that I have to announce. And you know, even one child name is missed out. He will write 10 times, ma'am, mera naam le li. Rohini, Asha, good. Everyone. Okay, now children, since you have only Farida Amit, that's correct. Khushi Namdeo, Samir, nice, Neha, Shikha, Abdish. Okay. So children, अब जैसे कि आप लोगों ने you only said that insurance has to be taken in the name of company. So similarly, in Mcqs versus Northern Insurance Company Limited, what happened was this Mr. Mcqs, he was in the business of purchase and sale of timber. Timber is a kind of wood which he was selling and purchasing and selling. So when he opened the company, he forgot that company is separate and I am separate. He took the entire insurance of this wood in his own name. So why the case happened? Northern Insurance Company Limited said that we will not pay you any claim because you are different, your company is different. Now company was actually suffering and we have to claim the money for company. So since the wood was insured in the personal name, it was held that you cannot have insurable interest in the property of company. You cannot say that even if I am having all the insurance, I am the only shareholder, even if you are the only shareholder, even if the other shareholders are your family members, then also the insurance has to be taken in the name of the company, which you people have correctly answered to me. So that is the crux of Mcqs versus Northern Insurance Company Limited. Let me just take you in the study material also. I'll just show you this case law from the study also, children. So this is the brief into history that we have discussed in my example. This is the applicability of the act. This is also done. Types of names of companies, definition of companies we have discussed. Limited liability of company, very important. Liability of company is different from liability of members. Members की liability अलग है, company की liability अलग है. अभी कराऊंगी मैं आपको ये point. अभी तक के लिए हमने जो point करा है, that is separate legal entity. A person is different from the subscribers to the memorandums. What is the meaning of this line? Many of you are asking this line from the study material. Subscribers to the memorandums, children, means the shareholders. So if you and me today, we are setting up the company. So before starting the company, we are promoters. And then we sign the memorandum, we become subscribers to the memorandum. And when the company is formed, these subscribers are known as the shareholders. So we as the shareholders are different from the company that we are setting up. This is what our respective case law says. Mcqs was the holder of all the shares, except one, means 99 shares were held by Mcqs only. Out of 100, 99% shareholding he was having. He was also a major creditor of the company. पैसा भी उधार लिया हुआ था कंपनी से, creditor भी था. M insured the company's timber in his own name. Examiner can give you such kind of interesting case studies and stories. कहाँ लिया उसने insurance? अपने नाम पे ले लिया. Timber was lost. M claimed insurance compensation. उसने कहा मेरे को पैसा दीजिए. यही होता है ना insurance company में कि मैंने timber को insurance लिया हुआ है उसका. Now it has destroyed. So I went to the insurance company. I said, please pay my compensation. Insurance companies say that we are not liable to pay you anything because you have no right on the property which is owned by the company. That is your company's property. It is not yours. How can you claim insurance money for your company's property? So it was held a member cannot even have insurable interest in the property of the company. Leading case law, Mcqs versus Northern Insurance Company Limited. समझ आ गया? And perpetual succession also, they have given you this example over here. Many companies in India are in existence for over 100 years. This is possible because company has perpetual existence. There was a company which has 7 members and all of them died in an aircraft. Still the companies exists. Unlike the partnership form of organization, very important. Partnership exists करेगी अगर partners die हो गए. जल्दी बताओ मुझे. If I have 7 partners and all the partners died, will the firm continue to exist? Simon, clothed with legal personality means that it is covered with the legal shield. The clothes that the company is wearing is not the ordinary clothes that we wear. It is the legal personality. Law की eyes में, वो कानून की नजरों में, it's a individual, it's a person. Otherwise, it's not any person. Okay, this is what is the meaning. Okay. Mr. Muhammad Hassan, all your answers are correct. Don't worry. So Sarthak said, this is what we learned. That's why the claim could not be made because the insurance was in the name of Mcqs. That's why company could not claim the money. Thank you, Ms. Neha V. Ms. Khushdeep Kaur, then this case law will become applicable and you cannot claim the money. She says if someone by mistake has, taken the insurance in their own name, company cannot claim the money. Yes. Yes, Mr. Abdul Sheikh. Only the owners have the right to claim the insurance money. So owner is the company's property. Company is the owner, not you. No, Mr. Aditya, then also one person company also OPC is different. Individuals shareholder are different. Vis-a-vis means related to this. Okay. Arshdeep. Partnership will come to an end. Very good. That's nice. All of you have given the correct answer. Ma'am, if partners have died, then partnership will come to an end. नाम नहीं लूंगी मैं, सबका आंसर ठीक है. All right, now let's take a small break over here and then we'll continue. We have many important case laws coming up. So stay awake. Just read this Mcqs and Northern Insurance. And those who are asking, ma'am, for how much we have to study. So my presentation that I'm sharing with you, all of that, and along with that study material is sufficiently enough. Mock test papers जो हम class में करते जा रहे हैं वो आप एक बारी अपना personally preparation में भी mock test papers you will do. Okay? So let's take a small break and then we'll continue. All right, welcome back, students. Thank you, Mr. Mahesh Kandekar. I am glad to know that you're enjoying the class and you're finding it easy. For entering the members concept, Mr. Rajesh, if all the partners have died, then definitely partnership will come to an end. And if the legal representatives want to continue, then it's absolutely fine. Yes, Avinash, that's fine. Okay, somebody was asking a question related to the whistleblowers. Mr. Sarthak said, legislate the role of whistleblowers means whenever, so that, this legal shield which has been given to the company is to protect it from all the frauds and corruptions. So whatever the whistleblowers word over here is trying to use, he's saying legislate means a legal protection is given to the company. Shareholders are different, companies different. And those who are asking, ma'am, separate legal entity, Arshdeep, Shivangi, we are yet to do. So you'll understand separate legal entity. And Sarthak, this point will also get clear with the detailed discussion of separate legal entity. Yes, Ms. Manvi, obviously they would have seen at the time of insurance also. That is why now they cannot claim the money. Had the property been belonging to Mcqs itself and he was the only sole proprietor, then it's okay if you're getting it in your name. But once he incorporated the company, he should have changed the papers in the name of company. Okay. Thank you, Simriti. Welcome back, all of you as well. Okay. The shareholders are not the private and Miss Anjana, shareholders are not the private and joint owners means that property of company is different and property of shareholders is different. Your points will get clear when we move ahead with liability, limited liability clause as well. Okay. So separate legal entity, children, what we have understood right now is just on the basis of insurable interest. We are yet to do our favorite case law, that is Salomon versus Salomon. इस पर्टिकुलर केस लॉ में ज्यादा क्लैरिटी से बताया गया है कि ये सेपरेट क्यों है. अभी तक हमने जितना करा, आई होप आपको उतना समझ आ गया है. डोंट वरी, इवन इफ सेपरेट लीगल एंटिटी इज नॉट क्लियर, it will definitely become clear by the end of class today. Okay. Now, moving ahead, let's go to the fourth point. It says artificial legal person. यहाँ आपका वो property वाला point somebody was asking. Now it will come. So once you have created an artificial legal person, so you were saying legislate the role of whistleblowers means I have a legal identity. Now I'm a separate person. Can you see the notebook which is shown over here? What do you mean by legal person and give its kinds? वो कहते हैं legal person means ये किताबों में दिखता नहीं है, ये आर्टिफिशियल पर्सन है. अभी बताया था ना मैंने आपको, मेरी और आपकी तरह दिखती नहीं है कंपनी. कंपनी तो इन बिल्डिंग्स की तरह, बॉडी उसकी कॉर्पोरेट बॉडी. ठीक है. So it is an artificial legal person means somebody who is existing in these books. ये पिक्चर्स इसीलिए यहाँ लगाई गई है so that information subconscious mind में सेव हो जाए. And when we see a pictorial representation and read along, you grab the information more easy and you find it enjoyable. So it says it can own the property. So if my company ABC Limited, I can have the property papers also in the name of ABC Limited. If Harleen ma'am has made the company ABC Private Limited, then the property papers of the company will be in the name of ABC Limited, not in my name. Because I am different as a shareholder, my company is different. So company can own the property also in its own name. Company can sue and be sued means anyone wants to file a case against me and I'm running a company can file a case against ABC Limited. They don't have to send a notice directly to me. They can send the notice directly to my company also. My company can also send a notice. I can use the legal letterhead of my company's name, put the stamp and company can file a case. Company will enter into contracts. Now this ABC Limited is going to enter into contracts means we'll be signing papers with the name of ABC Limited. Fourth point is very interesting. तो चलो थोड़ा सा आपको हंसाते हैं. ABC लिमिटेड प्रॉपर्टी ओन कर रही है, केस फाइल कर रही है. क्या ABC लिमिटेड चल भी सकती है? क्या ABC लिमिटेड चलकर जाएगी और बोलेगी हेलो PQR लिमिटेड मेरे साथ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कर लो? अरे भाई आर्टिफिशियल है ना, दिखाई नहीं देती है, सिर्फ नोटबुक में है. Therefore ह्यूमन एजेंसी, मेरी और आपकी जरूरत पड़ेगी इसको चलाने के लिए. वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. पहले मैम आपने बताया कि हम ना भी रहे तब भी कंपनी चल रही है, अब हमारे बिना चलेगी भी नहीं. तो दो बातें हैं. Perpetual succession means company continues to exist in the eyes of law unless and until winding up is done. लिख लेना. So that means it has a perpetual succession. However, company being an artificial person cannot run on its own. It runs through a human agency. Human beings are required to run the company. Directors, shareholders होंगे तभी तो कंपनी रन होगी ना. खुद से चलकर नहीं जाएगी कंपनी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एंटर करने. सो आर्टिफिशियल लीगल पर्सन में दो ही चीजें लर्न करनी है. नंबर वन, प्रॉपर्टीज इन द नेम ऑफ कंपनी. कंपनी कैन फाइल एन एक्शन. एक्शन कैन बी टेकन अगेंस्ट अ कंपनी. हाउ इज कंपनी एक्टिंग? इट एक्ट्स थ्रू द ह्यूमन एजेंसी. क्लियर हो गया? Let's go ahead. Common seal. Common seal, I just told you, these are the digital signatures. These are the kind of signature stamp that the company can use. It was mandatory to have a common seal. We'll just read in a short while the recent amendment of 2015 from the study material, how we have to deal if we have opted not for having a common seal. Let us here understand the meaning of limited liability also. In partnership, the liability was unlimited. So if you cannot pay the liability from the firm's assets, partners were bringing the assets from the home and paying the liability. क्या कंपनी में भी ये चीज है? नो मैम, कंपनी की liability is limited liability. Now how it is limited? It can be limited by shares. It can be limited by guarantee. So when we do companies limited by shares, companies limited by guarantee, उस time पे समझेंगे what is the meaning of such companies. As of now, liability of the companies is limited. Company has its own liabilities which needs to be paid from the company's assets. Shareholders की liability अलग होती है, needs to be paid from the shareholders' property. Because company is different, shareholders are different. Property of company is different, property of shareholders is different. Therefore, the liability of the shareholders members is limited liability. It's not unlimited. All right. So now let's see all these points from the study material quickly, and then we'll move to the corporate veil theory. So let us see the point of limited liability. It says the debts of the company in totality do not become the debts of the shareholders. If you are doing a company, ABC Limited has 1 lakh debts, it doesn't mean all the shareholders have this liability. Liability of members is only limited to the value of shares held by them. Whatever investment you have made in the company, you are only limited up till that. And if it is company limited by guarantee, then whatever amount you have guaranteed, say for example, I have formed a company which is limited by guarantee. So I have given a guarantee that in case of any winding up or any liquidation when the company goes into, I will be paying the liability up till amount of 10,000. Now, if the liability suffered by the firm is 1 lakh rupees, will I pay 1 lakh? No, my liability is limited up till amount of 10,000 because I have given the guarantee of the amount of 10,000. So whatever shares I have taken, if it is company limited by shares, then my liability is up till the unpaid value of shares. If it is company limited by guarantee, then whatever is the amount of guarantee that I have given. If it is unlimited company, then my liability is unlimited. So we do have companies which are unlimited liability companies also. When we go to types of companies, we'll talk about this. Artificial legal person, Sara clear ho gaya. We need directors, cannot control the affairs, it acts through agency. We are not the agents. We are only human beings who are running the companies, can either own through their own common seal, or we can appoint somebody to run the company. Company is an artificial legal person. If examiner asks you how it is an artificial, here it is written, since it's clothed with all the rights of an individual, means it is not formed by a natural birth process. It is legal thing which is created by law. I hope this point is clear, everyone. A person being an artificial person is not bestowed with a body of natural being. Therefore, it works through human agency. समझ आ गया हमें, उसकी natural body नहीं है, living thing नहीं है. So human beings के through वो act करें. What is the meaning of common seal? Common seal is the official signature which is affixed, means ठप्पा लगाना. So it is affixed by the officers or employees of the company on every document. It is used as the symbol of its incorporation. एबीसी पार्टनर्स थे, वो साइन कर रहे थे, चल रहा था, आपने कंपनी बनाई है एबीसी लिमिटेड, आप सील यूज कीजिए, कॉमन सील यूज कीजिए कि इट्स एन इनकॉर्पोरेटेड कंपनी. Now read this amendment 2015. What does it say? Let us read what it is written. It says company's common seal has been made optional by omitting the words and common seal from section 9. तो हम किसकी बात कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे? हम section 9 में ही हम सारे ये points पढ़ रहे हैं. Okay, whatever points that we are reading, these all the features which are given, distinctive features, these are given under section 9 of Companies Act 2013. Now what happened in 2015 Amendment Act? They said that under section 9, the word and common seal has been omitted. Omitted means removed. हटा दिया गया है, remove कर दिया गया है. कौन सा word? And common seal. It says it's an alternative mode of authorization for the companies opt not to have a common seal. If you are not having a common seal, then what needs to be done? In case a company does not have a common seal, then at least 2 directors or a director and company secretary should sign the documents. अब मैम आपने ये तो बता दिया कि कॉमन सील हट गया. जब तक कॉमन सील था हमें पता था it is affixed by the officers or employees. We are signing and putting the common seal. Now, if you have opted not to have a common seal, then who will sign the documents? Law says 2 directors must sign the documents. Or if you have appointed a company secretary, then 1 director and 1 company secretary should sign all the authorization of the documents. So you can simply remember over here, in case the company has opted, in case the company opts not to have common seal, then signing or authorization, sign or authorization needs to be given by number 1, either by 2 directors. So और का मतलब होता है choice है. Or if company has a company secretary, then 1 director and 1 company secretary will sign the documents. So let us have an example over here. If I tell you that there is a company which is formed, ABC Private Limited, and it has directors A, B, and C, and a company secretary Miss A, Miss P, who will sign the documents? How the common seal needs to be applied? Please answer me. There is a company ABC Limited. We have directors, we have 2 directors, A, B, and Mr. A and B. Let's have 2 directors, A and B, and a company secretary, Miss P. So how the signing needs to be done? I want an answer from you. How the authorization of common seal needs to be given? Please tell me, children. Yes, Sudhanshu, MOA or the public documents can be read whenever you want to make any adjustment. Balasajjan Lakshmi is writing, if all the members of a company died, then who will run the company? So number 1 thing, Balasajjan Lakshmi, that company continues to exist. Your question is valid, who will run it? So that is a separate thing, whether we are going to continue running the company or not. So perpetual succession actually means that the company still will exist in the books of law. You have to get its name striked off. Say, for example, we don't have any legal representatives also, and the company is just lying as a dormant company. So we have to apply, somebody will go and apply in the tribunal and get the company's name removed. Who will run it? Legal representatives of those people. The inheritance property to whom those belong, say for example, ABC, they have their children, they can run the company. So that is a different story, how the company is being run. Perpetual succession simply tells you that the company continues to exist. Devyanshu, legal entity, artificial means company has its own identity. Separate means it is different from the members. Okay, so who is going to sign? Both the directors or company secretary. One director and one company secretary can also sign. Excellent. All of you have given correct answers. It can be by A and B or by either A or B and Miss P. Very good, Bhumika Jia, Monu, Aditya, Ziba, Shruti, Avdesh, Pratap. Very good, Tanishka, Mohammed, Sahil, Ali Khan, Vibhuhu, Divesh, Mehakpreet, Arisha, Sakshi, Priyanka, Manvi, Yashika. Rohini Singh only by Mr. A. No, that's not correct. It can be either A and B both signing or either of them and the company secretary. And when generally when we have the company secretary, any one of the Now let's come to the favorite topic of corporate wealth theory. ये सारे points clear हो गए. ये आज ही आप learn कर लेंगे. आप मुझे पूछते हैं ना मैम law कैसे learn होगा. अब आपने बहुत important information आज features पढ़े हैं. Mcqs and Northern Assurance Company Limited भी you have understood. So try to read these pages from the study material and learn each and every line of it. And when I say learn it, I mean it. Learn it, okay? You have to grab the information in your mind and you have to make small notes. The kind of short stories I'm telling you in between, the kind of examples I'm giving you, keep writing it down and things become very simple, children. Now, corporate wealth theory. Corporate wealth theory is basically telling you that separate legal entity concept. अभी तक जो हम पढ़ रहे थे कि मैम members are different, shareholders are different, companies different. This is the meaning of corporate wealth theory. It means company has a separate legal existence from its members. Members are shielded from the liability. So basically separate क्यों करते हैं? क्योंकि liability of shareholders is different, liability of company is different. We enjoy corporate insulation means isolation. Corporate insulation means we are independent of each other. You, the shareholder, you have your own headache of responsibilities and liabilities. I am a company, I have my own shareholdings and responsibilities of the liabilities. Now, who told you about this corporate wealth theory? How this personality was formed? How we laid the corporate personality? This foundation was laid down in the case law of Salomon versus Salomon and Company Limited. इसको मार्क कर लीजिए. वेरी 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 इंपॉर्टेंट केस लॉ. और आप मुझे हमेशा पूछते हो ना मैम केस लॉ का नाम लर्न करना है कि नहीं. I always tell you that no, it is not compulsory, but today I'm going to change my statement. So I feel the need that my CA students are going ahead in CA Inter also, and there you might be needing the reference of this case law. So the basic case laws like Balfour versus Balfour of Indian Contract, one of the two we did in sale of goods as well, and the Salomon versus Salomon, which is a leading case law foundation of company law. I personally feel that you should try to learn the name. And when today I will make the story interesting and understandable to you, you'll definitely start learning the name. Okay? So, हिंदी में compulsory नहीं है ये case law learn करना. अगर आप चाहें तो कर लीजिए. मेरी advice है कि आप इसको नाम को learn कर लें. अब ये Salomon versus Salomon and Company Limited, what does it say? Now, there was a person named Mr. Salomon. The story is coming up, so all the eyes and ears here on the screen. No more going in the quiz. One Salomon person incorporated a company. Means उसने एक company बनाई. किस नाम से? Salomon and Company Limited के नाम से. With how many subscribers? मैंने अभी बताया था subscribers क्या होते हैं? Shareholders. सिंपल समझ लो. अभी वर्ड टू वर्ड समझाऊंगी अगली क्लास में सब्सक्राइबर्स का मीनिंग. अभी के लिए हम समझ लेते हैं with 7 shareholders. Out of them, he himself was there, his wife, 4 sons and 1 daughter. So who are these 7 people? Salomon, his wife, his 4 sons and 1 daughter. So घर के ही members अपनी एक family business बना रहे हैं. Salomon ने taken his own 7 members of the family and he formed this company. The company took over the personal business assets of Salomon for £38,000 and Salomon took 20,000 shares in the company. And also he took debentures worth £10,000 of the company with a charge on the company's assets. Now the meaning of this line is with the charge on the company's assets means he has taken secured debentures in the company. So what is Salomon doing? He has purchased the business for £38,000 and how these £38,782 are divided. He has taken 20,000 shares. This is just the breakup of the information given, children. You don't have to learn this information. What you have to learn, we are just coming to that line. But this is just, he is telling you that he has taken 20,000 shares and 10,000 debentures he has taken in that company. And balance 8,782 rupees he has paid in cash. Okay. So this is how the breakup was done. This is how he has invested the money in the company. He has taken 20,000 shares. He has taken 10,000 secured debentures also. Debenture is a kind of loan given by the company. Okay, which needs to be loan taken by the company, which needs to be repaid with a fixed rate of interest. Now what happened? The company went into liquidation. Liquidation means winding up. Company losses mein chale gayi and now the company is getting closed. Company is ending. Due to general trade depression means it was suffering losses. So there were certain losses and the company was not doing well. So he said, let's wind up this company. Now, bache, when they were winding up this company, there were unsecured creditors of £7,000. Salomon could not be treated as secured creditors for the debentures held in him because he was the managing director of one-man company, which was not different from Salomon. And it was held that the company is like kind of a mere sham and fraud. Jahan pe ye likhe na mere sham and fraud. Sham ka matlab hota hai just forming a company for doing any fraudulent activity. Sham means just forming a company which is actually not doing any business. So Lord Mcqs ne ye kaha ki this company, which is a company Salomon, he has formed with his own family members and he was a secured creditor also of this company. Why he was a secured creditor? Because he has taken secured debentures worth £10,000. And now when the company is getting closed, children, there were creditors £7,000 which needs to be paid off. The real assets, the actual assets of the company were not sufficient to pay all these things. There were around £6,000 assets which were left to be paid. So generally, you must have learned in accounts what happens is when the company is getting closed, how we have to make the payment. When the company ends, we first pay the secured creditors. Then we pay the unsecured creditors. And the balance is given to the shareholders. This is how it happens. So whenever the company is getting closed, this is how the bifurcation, like in partnership, we were first paying out the outsiders liabilities, then personal liabilities, and then we were sharing in the profit sharing ratio. However, when the company ends, we first make the payment to the secured creditors, whosoever has taken the credit money by giving us security. So here Salomon was a secure creditor of the company. He has lent £10,000. He has given money to the company and that also by giving a security on the company's assets. So law says now when the company is winding up, we have to pay to the secured creditors, then the unsecured creditors, and the balance is given to the shareholders. But do we have enough money? They were only having the assets of £6,000 which were left. So entire money was given to this secured debenture holder, that is Salomon versus Salomon. Law said, please give this money to Salomon because he is a secured debenture holder. He has given loan to the company. Now the company is winding up. We must pay back his money. So the problem occurred. The angry unsecured creditors, they went to the court. They said, what are you doing? This man, Salomon, he's running his own company. He's the managing director. It's a one-man company. They're not different. They are one and the same thing. But law said company has its own existence. Shareholders cannot be held liable for the acts of the company, even if they're holding the entire share capital. Whole of the law of corporation is based on this theory of separate legal entity. Law ne kya kaha? Law said, no, you are wrong. Salomon is different and the shareholders and the company is different. Salomon is a shareholder of the company. Why are you saying Salomon and company are saying company? Salomon and Company Limited is a company. So now when the Salomon and Salomon Company Limited is winding up, it should first make the payment to the secured creditors. Then it should pay the unsecured creditors and balance should be given to the shareholders. That is Salomon, his wife and children, everything should be given to them. But the assets were not sufficient. Therefore, all the secured creditors, in our case, secured creditor वो खुद था. Salomon खुद ही secured creditor था. तो law ने कहा आपने ये नहीं देखना. He is not getting money because he's a secured, because he's the owner of the company. Because he's the secured creditor of the company, therefore entire money should be paid back to the secured debenture holder. So whatever money was left, 6,000 assets, entire, because he had 10,000 pounds debentures invested, so entire money was given to the Salomon. Unsecured creditors were not given anything. Why? Because the court has held this judgment that this is the basic foundation, Salomon case, which laid the foundation of corporate veil existence, that a veil, a shield exists between the company and the shareholders. This Mr. Salomon is different. This company is different. So company should first make the payment to the secured creditors. If anything is left, then it is given to the unsecured creditors. Otherwise, it will not be given. Clear ho gaya? So this is what is the meaning of veil of corporate personality. Theory of corporate, that's why I told you, see, it has written whole of the corporation is based on this theory. So it is better you learn this case law. You should know the facts. I have explained you the facts clearly. Once the class is over, try listening to the facts once again in the recorded lecture, note them down, read the study case law once again, and things will be crystal clear to you. I'm sure about that. And जो आगे हम points पढ़ने जा रहे हैं, उससे और भी ज़्यादा आपको clarity हो जाए. हाँ, प्रॉब्लम क्या आई? कॉर्पोरेट वेल थ्योरी सबको समझ आ गई. दैट मींस देयर इज अ वेल व्हिच इज एक्सिस्टिंग बिटवीन द कंपनी एंड द शेयरहोल्डर्स, एंड दिस इज द डिफरेंस दैट इज क्रिएटेड. दैट कंपनी इज डिफरेंट, shareholders are different. Okay, so all this law language that they held is same meaning what I'm speaking to you in general language, that company is different from the shareholders. Shareholders cannot be held liable for the acts of the company because liability is also different. Now the question arises whether we need to lift this corporate veil or not. Now what happened? People started taking disadvantage of this thing. वो whistleblowers वाला जो आपने first page पे पढ़ा ना point, that is what started happening. People started taking advantage of this thing. See, for example, Harleen ma'am formed a company, Harleen Corp Private Limited. So now I read about corporate veil theory and I said I can do any kind of fraud. Who will come to know? People will come and hold the company. I will say that I am a different person. My company is different. Please go and hold my company. Can you do so? Can you do any kind of fraud and illegal things? Law says no. If you try to do any fraud, then we will lift this corporate veil and you and your company will be treated as one, and law is going to take action against you. Where the payment needs to be made, where the creditors are different, where insurable and trust we are talking, all these things laid the foundation that company and shareholders are different. We have understood the separate legal entity concept. Corporate veil theory का मतलब ही ये है कि company is separate from its members. Have you clearly understood separate legal entity? Company has a different identity, shareholders have a different identity. Company have different liabilities, shareholders have different liability. We are not related to each other. Although we are related, we are doing the same business, but we are artificial existence and legal personality is different. Now people started taking advantage of this thing. People started committing frauds. And when government and law used to come and tell them that you're doing fraud, they said, we are not doing fraud. We have read in the CA Foundation about corporate veil theory. It is our company which is doing fraud, and there is a shield which is existing between shareholders and company. So company is different. Please go and hold our company liable. वो लॉ ने सोचा भाई कंपनी को थोड़ी ना हम जेल में डालेंगे, जेल में तो आपको ही डालेंगे, फ्रॉड तो आप ही कर रहे हैं. Who is the mastermind behind running the company? So if that mastermind behind the company is having such fraudulent plans, then the corporate veil needs to be lifted. Then it has to be seen, the real intention has to be seen. So 5 cases we are going to do now in the class. In those cases, the corporate veil is lifted. It says you should understand the meaning of lifting the veil. It means looking behind the company. So ये जो अभी मैं आपको कर रही थी, looking behind means seeing who are the mastermind, who are the corporate people. Are they disregarding the corporate entity? Means they're trying to cheat anyone. They are doing any legal facade. They're doing any kind of committing any kind of crime. Then please lift the corporate veil and take an action against those sitting behind the company. So lifting of corporate veil can be done in the following cases. Number 1 case is to determine the character of the company, whether it is an enemy company or a friend company. Children, you must have read in Indian Contract Act also that we cannot do any kind of trading with our country with which we have enemy kind of relationships. Agreed? Alien enemy, we cannot do any kind of trading. Similarly, we cannot have any kind of relationship with the company when a war is going on between 2 different countries. So to determine the character of the company, he is trying to tell you, if you have set up a company and you are doing business dealings with another company, which is part of a country with which you are having alien enemy relationships, means you're having any world war kind of situations, you're not having cordial relationships with that country, then you cannot have any trading or business transactions with the company of that country. Now, what is the leading case law which proved this point? There was a very, very important case law, Daimler Company Limited versus Continental Tire and Rubber Company. Now, law says whenever you are dealing with different kind of companies in different countries, we have to see the real intention. If the affairs are in the hand and control of an alien enemy country, then the corporate veil has to be lifted. We cannot allow any transactions to be done between the countries which are having enemy relationships with each other. First of all, children, please tell me why we cannot do this kind of trading. So say, for example, you are England and I am Germany, and a world war is going on, and England and Germany are not having cordial relationships. So can England and Germany do business with each other? Law says no. So why no, ma'am? Why England and Germany cannot do business? Because if I'll do business with you, I'll recover, I'll make money with you. So whenever I'm making money from my alien enemy, and the same money my countrymen are using against your country for fighting, so we cannot have cordial relationships. Now we are alien enemies. So when you're enemies with another country, you simply cannot do the business, or you cannot have a company set up in the alien enemy kind of country. Now, what happened in Daimler Company Limited versus Continental was, Daimler Company Limited was a company which was formed by German citizens. They were German citizens who have formed a company, Daimler Company Limited, in England. कहाँ पे company form करी उन्होंने? In England. Now, these German citizens have formed a company, Daimler Company Limited, and they were doing business with a company, Continental Tire and Rubber Company, which was an England-based company. Now, England में उन्होंने company form करी, but company किसने form करी? German citizens. All the German citizens, they were together and they formed a company in England, Daimler Company, and they were doing business with Continental Tire and Rubber Company. So Daimler Company was in the manufacturing of tires and rubbers, and they have business transactions with Continental Tire and Rubber Company. This was an England-based company. Now, this was the time when the World War I was going on. And when the World War was going on, England and Germany were not having good relationships. There was the World War going on between 2 countries. So Continental Tire had to pay certain money to this Daimler Company Limited. Now, law said Since Daimler Company Limited is a German-based company, we cannot have any kind of trading between two companies. Why? Because it is a German-based company and Continental Tire is an England-based company. And German and England में war चल रहा था. तो Daimler Company ने कहा, we are the German citizens who are running the company. Our company is England-based. Why are you taking us in between? Please, there is a corporate veil theory. We are the German citizens. We are different and a company is different. So please, we should recover the money. So we have to see the real character of the company. So law said, court said that the real intention, the real people who were running the company had to be seen in this case. Since all the German citizens were involved, therefore corporate veil was lifted. So Daimler Company was regarded as the German-based company. So Germany and England could not have cordial relationships. They were alien enemies. Therefore, corporate veil was lifted and the debt could not be recovered from the Continental Tire and Rubber Company. अब मैम हमने ये सारी स्टोरी याद करनी है, सारी स्टोरी याद नहीं करनी है, बट पता तो होनी चाहिए ना, तभी तो आप डिसीजन ले पाओगे. Examiner will give you such kind of questions. Country A and country B are having a war between them. Can we do the trading? Can we say that the country A shareholders are different and company is different? So your answer will be general provision, corporate veil theory, paragraph likhenge, facts of the case likhenge, and in conclusion you will write, since we have studied that in order to lift the corporate veil, we have to see the real intention and character of the company. Since they're not having cordial relationships, there is world war going on between them. Therefore, no trading can be done between two countries. Simple. So we cannot do any trading with the alien enemies. Case law reference Daimler versus Continental Tire and Rubber Company. मैंने आपको स्टोरी सुना भी दी, क्या हुई थी वो स्टोरी आपने याद रखनी है, and you should know how to apply it in the exam. Second one is to protect the revenue and taxes. Now 3 cases are given over here. We will do this very important case law which examiner has asked you 10 times in the exams also. Dinshaw, Mcqs, Pettit. So you can remember the reference of S. Peterson also, Jugilal versus Commissioner of Income Tax also. All these case laws are trying to tell you that wherever you're trying to evade the taxes, evade means ना देना, income tax छुपा लेना. अब आप गवर्नमेंट का रेवेन्यू तो नहीं ना ले सकते. इनकम टैक्स क्या होता है? गवर्नमेंट का रेवेन्यू है. Whenever we earn income, we have to pay tax on that. You all know that. If I am earning any income, I have to pay taxes on my income. So even if you have invested any money, you get return on that. So that is your interest income. So if your interest income is huge and it is exceeding the exemption limit, you need to pay taxes on that. So law said, if you are doing any such kind of thing that you are trying to avoid the income tax, then also the corporate veil will be lifted and company and shareholders will be treated as one and the action will be taken against the shareholders. अब Dinshaw, Mcqs, Pettit में क्या हुआ था इस केस में? This Mr. Dinshaw, he formed a company which was not a genuine company at all. He just created a sham. Sham means just a fraudulent company create करी इसने. कैसे करा इसने? This man Dinshaw was earning huge income by the way of dividends and interest. So Dinshaw had huge money. He has invested in shares. He has taken FDs and he was getting huge income by the way of dividends and interest income. And when he got this huge income, he purchased and opened 4 different companies. He invested his money in 4 different companies. And whatever money he has invested, he took that money back as a way of loan. So what this Dinshaw was doing, Dinshaw was earning huge money. Dinshaw was earning huge income by interest and dividend. ठीक हो गया मैम पहला point. So what should he has done? He should have paid income tax on this. Instead of paying taxes, he invested this money in 4 different companies, created a sham. Sham means a mere cloak, a company which is not doing any business, and took loan from these companies. So basically, He just circulated the money to avoid the taxes. So what did he do? He had huge 1 crore income by way of interest. Now he thought he will have to pay huge interest, huge taxes on this 1 crore income. So what did he do? Instead of paying the income tax, he invested this money of 1 crore in 4 different companies and took 75 lakhs, 25 lakhs, 10 lakhs loan from this company. Instead of doing any business, उसने उन्हीं companies पे पैसा लगाया और वापस उन्हीं company से loan ले लिया. So he just circulated the money. And when law court went to him, he said, you have formed these private companies. They are just a sham. You're not doing any business. He said, why are you coming to me? Blame these companies now. We are different. Company is different. Mr. Dinshaw is different. They said, you are the mastermind plan behind these companies. Please read point number 2 to protect revenue and taxes. If you ever try to avoid any taxes by creating such companies, your corporate veil will be lifted. And Mr. Dinshaw and these 4 companies were treated as one person and legal actions were taken. समझ आ गया? So if you try to avoid any taxes, corporate veil is lifted. If you try to trade with alien enemies, corporate veil is lifted. Or you try to avoid any legal obligations. ये भी बहुत interesting है. इसमें भी case law है. So many case laws we have today. Workmen of Associated Rubber Industry Limited versus Associate Rubber Industry Limited. Now, to avoid any legal obligation, law says if you are just forming the company, the sole purpose of forming the company, if it is just to reduce the bonus to be paid to the workers, then Supreme Court held, see children, these are all Supreme Court judgments, very, very important judgments. Then Supreme Court says the real intention needs to be seen. We have to see the real transaction. Now, there was another company, this Workmen Association Rubber Industry Limited. What they were doing, they were having huge profits. So they have invested huge shares and they were earning huge profits. And it is generally a legal obligation of a company where workers are working that if you have huge profits, then you should pay bonus to your workers. So what did they do? They, instead of paying bonus to the workers, they invested the money in their subsidiary company. They created B Limited, C Limited and created subsidiary companies. And they said, we don't have any money to pay the business. So law says you are just circulating your money. You're avoiding the surplus. Surplus, if any, has to be paid for the bonus. So you're just investing your money in different companies to avoid a legal obligation. Therefore, this cannot be done. You and your company will be treated as one and court held them liable because they were avoiding to pay the bonus to their workers. What were they doing? They were having huge profits. Out of huge profits, they had to pay the bonus, but they invested the money in different companies. They created subsidiary companies, again, the fake subsidiary companies, which were owned by them only. They were not doing any business. They were just circulation of money was happening. So if you're trying to avoid any legal obligations like bonus to the workers, then also the corporate veil can be lifted. Fourth one is also same, children, where you're just creating the subsidiaries to act as your agents. The principal company will also be held liable. So you're just creating subsidiary companies just to bifurcate your money, just to make sure that there is a different company, shareholders are not held liable, corporate veil will be lifted and all the shareholders and company will be held liable. And the last one is Guilford Motor Company versus Horn. This is also very, very important case law. I somehow have an intuition that the examiner can give you a case study based on this and you will have to answer this. फटाफट से last case law भी समझ लेते हैं. Law says if any company is formed for doing any fraud or improper conduct, then also the corporate veil needs to be lifted. अब एक और कहानी सुन लेते हैं. Guilford Motor Company में क्या हुआ था? एक employee था Mr. Horn. He was working with Guilford Motor Company. And when Mr. Horn left the company, he said, I am promising you, Guilford Company, that I will not do the same competing business and I will not try to take your customers. But then this Mr. Horn, the moment he left this company, he formed a similar kind of company and started cheating and started doing fraud and started attracting the customers of Guilford Company. So this angry Guilford Motor Company went to the court. They said, look, this Mr. Horn, he was our employee. Now he knows the secrets of a business. He has created the same different company and he's trying to take our customers. So Mr. Horn was chilling. He said, I am not liable. My company is liable. Go and sue it. उसकी गलती है, मेरी कंपनी गलत काम कर रही है, मुझे क्यों कह रहे हो? हम तो कॉर्पोरेट वेल है हम दोनों में. The law said, come here, Mr. Horn, don't try to be smart. We will lift the corporate veil if you ever try to do any kind of fraud or improper conduct. If you're defeating the law, you're not following the law, you're doing illegally something wrong, corporate veil will be different, and hence Mr. Horn was held liable. So children, 5 cases in which I have taught you about lifting of corporate veil. Let's summarize it. Let's quickly have a summary of what we discussed, and then I have few MCQs also to be done with you. Number 1, company is a separate legal entity. Salomon versus Salomon and Company Limited, जो कि clear करता है कि there is a corporate veil between company and shareholders. Company is different, shareholders are different. समझ आ गया? But in certain cases, we need to lift this veil and company and shareholders will be treated as one. What are those cases? Daimler Company Limited versus Continental Tire, where we are having alien enemies. Germany, England में war चल रहा है. They cannot do the trading. Therefore, German citizens and England company were treated as one. Number 2, where you're trying to avoid the taxes. Dinshaw-Panic strategy, where you're just creating 4 companies, avoiding the taxes by circulating your dividend and interest income. Corporate veil needs to be lifted. You cannot cheat government by avoiding their taxes. Number 3, where you're avoiding legal obligations, bonus needs to be paid to the workers and you're circulating your money, not paying the bonus to the workers. Corporate veil will be lifted. Company and the shareholders will be held as one. If you're just forming the subsidiaries which are acting as your agent, you're not doing any business through their companies, you're just circulating the money, subsidiaries and you individual will be treated as one. Corporate veil will be lifted. And the last one, you try to create a company tomorrow and do any cheating, any fraud, any improper conduct. You are trying to defeat the law. You as the managing director behind the company will be held liable. You cannot say like Mr. Horn that my company is different, I'm different. Company and shareholder will be treated as one if company is doing any fraudulent act. Clear हो गया? पढ़ना तो पड़ेगा. जो सोच रहे हैं कि मैम लर्न करना पड़ेगा, रिवाइज करना पड़ेगा, वो तो करना ही पड़ेगा बेटा. Too much information. We have done 5 to 6 case laws today. I can understand it's too much information for all of you. Let us quickly try solving MCQs. All this information is given in my presentation also. You can read it. Please test your knowledge. The first question is there in front of you. Give me the answers. Wear your thinking caps and start sending the answers. Miss Lakshita, where the liability of the company is limited, the shareholders will be liable only till the amount of unpaid money on the shares. Okay, so when I teach you company limited by shares, it will get clear over there. Yes, Saima, same answer goes for you also. Your liability is limited only up to the amount of unpaid amount on the shares. You will never be liable for the liability of companies, Miss Saima. You will not be liable. Liability of company is different. Liability of shareholder is different. Mr. Mohammed Hassan, I don't know what you have written. Maybe I was saying something. It can be saying by both. Okay. How to write a perfect answer. Mr. Srinath, when I do mock test papers with you, I will teach you about the perfect answer. Not to worry, Mr. Aditya. You revise that act and it will be clear. Don't worry. Yes, Mr. Mohammed Hussain Badurul, company is not liable for the acts of shareholders. That is right. Secured creditors, who are those who are asking, I hope now the point is clear, where certain security is given when your debentures are the kind of loan amount taken by the company. So they have given certain kind of security for that. So why do you give a security? Remember, in mortgage and pledge, I have taught you that whenever you're taking any loan, certain kind of security is given. So that tomorrow, if you'll not repay my loan, I will sell your assets and recover my money. So this is basically the meaning of secured creditors. Balasajan Lakshmi and Sudhanshu Shekhar. I hope now you're clear. Ekta Tiwari, both the case laws are fine for separate legal entity. Yes, Mr. Abdul, secured creditors needs to be paid first. Very nice, Ms. Ziba, Bhumika, Bibuhu, Aditya, Samriti, those who have written, ma'am, clearly understood. Great. So, Samriti Maheshwari, we are not having world war or any kind of war with India and Pakistan. We please feel free to trade whenever we are having alien enemy relationships occurs when we are having war with that country. Okay, Samriti? All right. Ask question when exchange interest. Thank you, Miss Yashika. I'm so happy that it creates interest in you in my class. I'm so happy. Thank you. Thank you, Devesh Soni. Thank you, Ruchi Pandya. ABC Brick Company, another person is using the name at the cheap rates. Yes, Mohammed Sahil Khan Pathan. If any company is trying to cheat and take your name, court can take an action. Okay, children, all of you have sent the answer. True is correct in the first question. I have got so many answers. I got busy reading the queries meanwhile. So true is the correct answer. I know all of you knew this. Very good. Bhavna Patel. Yes, it's an artificial legal person. That's correct. Okay. ये भी हम कर चुके हैं. I know you all know an answer to this one. Even if all the shareholders have died, we will not do this. We have already done. Thank you, Miss Priyanka. Thank you, Miss Mitra. Thank you, Miss Bhargavi. I'm not doing this question, children. You all know it will continue to exist as it has perpetual succession. So let's go to the third one. Read the question very carefully. Thank you, Ankit Mishra. I'm glad I have made law easy for you. Thank you so much, Bache. Okay. ABC Private Limited company was opened by Mr. A just to distribute the income that he has earned by the way of dividend and interest to evade taxes. In your opinion, children, please tell me, is it advisable to lift the corporate veil? Yes, the veil should be lifted, or no, the veil will not be lifted because company is different and shareholders are different. Good, Manvi Khanna, Miki Kumari, Varda Fatima, Ziba, Afisha, Ashfiya, Sanju Kumari, Bhargavi, Bibuhu, all of you are correct. I would be feeling happy and glad if you can give me the reference of the case law name also that we just did. The answer is yes, the veil should be lifted. Okay, all of you have sent the correct answer. Gareja, Sakshi, Shruti, Jia, Rohini, Yashika, Saima, Ekta, Pooja, Bibuhu, Kushi, Sudhanshu, Miss Palati Charan, Mehakpreet, Sehajpreet, Aditya, Gunchita, Tushar. Can I get the name of the case law also, children? Devesh, Ronit, Artvi, Kushi, Tushar, all of you are correct, children. Sahil, Mohammed, ये जो time आ रहा है ना case law लिखने में, that means you're all opening your books and seeing which case law we have to write. Very good. Yes. Thank you, Miss Shivangi Bin. Kumari Miki is the first one to send the name. Dinshaw Manikji Petted is the case law. Very good. Saima, Sanjana Mitra, Madiha Khan, Tanishka, Syed Majid, Anjana. Correct, children. Very well done, children. So now you have understood the concept clearly. I think let's stop here and we will continue. Yes, anyways, you cannot answer these questions right now because we have not done. So we'll be starting with the types of companies in the next session, that is on Wednesday. Now, if anyone has any queries, still if any queries are left, you can send. Yes, Devesh Soni, that's correct. So you can send. Miss Arshdeep, all the companies have this corporate veil theory. You cannot have that any company which is formed for corporate veil. हर company की corporate veil होती है. Corporate veil का मतलब ही ये है कि company and shareholders are different. But these 5 cases, corporate veil needs to be lifted. Yes, Mr. Vipul Gupta, partnership of all the partners have died. It can get dissolved. I have taught you about dissolution of firm. You can either apply to the court for dissolution or at partnership. If it is for a fixed period or all the partners have died, it will be a compulsory dissolution as well. Okay. Miss Priyanka, you can send your question again. Which case law are you asking? Thank you, Mitra. Thank you, Ruchi Pandya. Subsidiary company Arthri Mondal. Next class में मैं आपको बताऊंगी what is subsidiary company. We have to do that. Thank you, Kushi Namdeo. Thank you, Rekha Sharma. Thank you, Ashfiya. Thank you, Ruchi. Mr. MD, please go and check it once again. It's definitely out there. Yes, Sudhanshu, that's correct. Sham is again kind of a scam that you have created, means you're not doing any business. Definitely, Miss Bhargavi. Feel free to do that. I don't mind. Okay, Miss Dhwani. Balasajan Lakshmi, what is meant by sham? Again, I told you it's a kind of cloak that you have created. That means you're just forming a company for a fraudulent person, a company which is actually not doing any business. So when Dinshaw formed 4 companies, they were a mere sham, means they were not doing any business. They were just created to circulate the money. Mitra Limited Liability we'll do when the types of companies in the next class. Thank you, Miss Anjana. Avdesh Pratap, you don't have to learn on all the case laws. The one that we have discussed in the class are sufficiently fine for the reference of these points. Just and equitable, Sidra Fatima, just and equitable means that when it is fair to do that. So if you have stolen 5 pencils and your brother is crying, so the just and equitable decision will be that please give the pencils back. Trying to be fair, okay? Just and equitable means sahi faisla karna. We have to be fair in the decision. Thank you, Miss Anjana. Thank you, Miss Ziva. Thank you, Shruti Tiwari. I'm glad to know that. And these, your beautiful words and quotations increases my morale and motivates me to create more interest in your class. Ash Babu Saha, Mr. Ash Babu Saha, company limited by shares and guarantees, we'll take up in the next class. Thank you, Miss Tejashri. Don't worry, Miss Saima, we can take up any doubts if still are there. We will revise what we have done in the class in the next class, then they come clear. Thank you, Bala Sajan Lakshmi. Thank you, Bibihu. No, Miss Sagar, if you know that there is an alien enemy, you cannot do business transaction. Ekta Tiwari, you don't have to learn all the case laws. There are around 7 to 8 case laws references given. We have covered the important ones in the class. That is fine. Thank you, Sidram. Thank you so much, Mr. Nikhil Soni. I'm glad I have tried making law easy for you. So I cannot see any more queries. It's only thank you notes. Thank you, Sudhanshu. Thank you, Bhumika. Shikha Kumari. Thank you. Shikha Kumari, evade means to avoid the taxes. Thank you, Arthri Mondal. Thank you, Ankit Mishra. Thank you, children. Kirti, Ash Babu, Nikhil Soni. Sham is again the same. Again, where a company has been created a kind of fraud which doesn't have any purpose of doing business. All right. Thank you, Kirti. Thank you, Gunjan Devi. Thank you, Shikha. Thank you, children. I hope you had a nice session today with me. Looking forward to see you on Wednesday. Goodbye. Take care.